Yo, what's good, YouTube? This is Jay from TNJ, and welcome back to the Montreal Expos franchise. We start spring training here to begin season number 2, and I actually forgot to go over the Minor League Player of the Year awards, and these are 3 awards: Offensive, Pitcher of the Year, and the overall Minor League Player of the Year in our organization. Let's start with Offensive Player of the Year. So here is the boost. You get +1 to all of your hitting attributes, and you get +2 to your potential. So looking at a lot of guys here in the AAA, at the AAA level with the Red Wings, because our AA team didn't do that well offensively, so it's probably going to come from AAA. Matty Flores had a really good year. I think the thing with him is that the impact just wasn't there. He had 38 RBIs. He obviously isn't a power guy. He did have a high on base percentage at 370. But then I go to Augustus Macklin, who had 69 RBIs, actually was top 3 in the league in home runs here at the AAA level, and he is right now 70 overall, and he will win the award because of the impact that he had at the AAA level. So he goes up to a 71 overall, and here is his ratings after that boost, and he also goes up +2 potential as well. He's actually a pretty decent fielder, and I expect that to get even better as he does progress. So he is going to be a really good pro one day. Now, Pitcher of the Year was a little bit tougher because we had 2 really good pitchers who had great seasons, and one of them was going to get Pitcher of the Year, one of them was going to get Player of the Year. The difference is actually quite a bit. For Player of the Year, you go up +3 in all of your attributes, and you get +5 in potential, while Pitcher of the Year, you go up +1 in all your attributes and go up +2 in potential. I look at the 2 candidates. Jamal Watson is one of them. 2.85 ERA, a 110 whip. The difference is the quality starts. Jamal Watson had 12 quality starts. He had a 4 WAR. He started 27 games though, and only 12 quality starts. Even though the numbers are great, he just doesn't last through innings, and because of that, I end up giving him Pitcher of the Year. So he goes up +1 overall. Now the potential is actually wrong here. He actually goes up to 79. I actually gave him a little bit more than what I should have. So he's going to be a 79 exactly potential. So if he has a great season and he progresses with his potential, he goes up to a B right away. So that leaves Alexander Santiago for our Minor League Player of the Year. The numbers are almost identical. I mean, almost identical to Jamal Watson. The difference is he's pitched 30 more innings and has those same numbers. 19 quality starts in comparison to 12 with Watson, and he had a 3.6 WAR, which is 0.4 less than Watson, but he deserves it. Here is the before we gave him that boost, and here is the after. He goes up officially to a B potential and 74 overall. Before we went into free agency, he was actually our highest rated pitcher in the organization at 74, and he looks like he's going to be really, really good. Look at the hits per 9. Went up +11 throughout the year. And remember, we gave him a +3, so he even had a +8 before the ratings boost. So he wins Minor Leaguer of the Year. Congratulations to him. I think he's got a very, very bright future in this organization. So coming off of the offseason, we made a couple of big moves. We signed Christian Walker to a 4-year, $60 million deal to be our star going forward. And he is going to be the leader in the clubhouse and a captain as well. And he's going to need to lead these young guys, especially seeing that he has 2 younger guys behind him who are going to be pretty good pieces in the future in Augustus Macklin and Bill Hedger. We then signed John Means to, I think, a very reasonable deal. He's coming off of a great year, and we signed him to a 3-year, $26 million contract to be our ace. We also traded for Andrew Monasterio to be another body in camp to see if he could grab that starting shortstop job away from Addison Barger. But Barger is going to get every opportunity. We traded for him last season, so we'll see who wins that job. And then obviously we have the young guys. Bill Hedger, will he be ready for the pros? pretty quickly? And will Augustus Macklin be ready for the pros as well full time? We then ended up signing some depth guys like Riley Adams at catcher. He's going to provide a competition behind the plate. We obviously went in the offseason inside some outfielders in Travis Jankowski and Connor Joe. And we made it so that we paved the way for our young guys still to develop while also being competitive going into season 2. So we get to see these guys in action as we preview season 2 and we look into spring training to see how these guys look. And first, we look at John Means, who was signed to be our ace, facing the Houston Astros. Here he's facing Jose Altuve, who pops one up behind the plate. Now, John Means is coming off of a year with a sub-3 ERA, just above a 1 whip. He had an all-star caliber year. He did not make the all-star team, though. But here is Yordan Alvarez grounding out to second base, and there is Colton Wong, who returns on a cheaper deal than he was on last year, making about $2.8 million just for this season. That brings up Christian Walker for the first at bat here as an Expo, and he swings and misses at that one. A little eager to hit with him, by the way. Here is Andrew Monasterio, who got the start today at shortstop. And here in the spring, I was platooning Monasterio and Barger. So Barger's hitting versus right-handed pitching. Monasterio's hitting versus left-handed pitching. Obviously because Monasterio is a right-handed hitter and Barger is a left-handed hitter. So now here brings up Connor Joe to the plate. He hits one well up the middle, but an easy double play ball here for the Astros, and that gets them through the 3rd inning. As you look at Buddy Kennedy here late in the 9th, and he swings and misses, and he's a guy that is a fringe MLB player as well, but he did not do well. He hit below 200 last year, so he's going to need to have a big spring in order to make the team. So now we move on to the next matchup as we look at our minor league player of the year. We want to see what he looks like in spring training, but he should be good to go for this coming season. He has a great chance of making the opening day roster, but look at the numbers last year when he was called up at September. Look at it, 18.4 strikeout rate, a 2.57 ERA, a 1.24 whip. He was really, really good. So here he faces a tough Boston lineup here. Here's a bunt laid down the third baseline, and look at that play, and that is Jeter Downs, who was also playing for a roster spot. Last year he hit about 220. He was not great at the plate, but he's going to need to really develop some more, I think, in order to make that opening day roster. But here he is, ground ball to him, and he gets the out at first. And our young pitcher, Alexander Santiago, gets them 1-2-3. Jeter Downs back at the plate here, hitting in that 2 spot. He does walk, as that brings up Bill Hedger, our first-round pick out of Texas Tech. We'll see what he can do. Hedger gets a pitch over the middle and hits one hard to the right side. And one thing that he comes into this franchise with is a very polished offensive game. Defensively, he can field. He doesn't have a great arm at all, but he's going to develop into something really special at the plate, in my opinion. Here is Higgy to the plate. He was our lone all-star. He drives in the first run of the game to make it 1-0 here in the first inning. As we continue this inning, and this is Cal Mitchell. He was one of the 4 trades we made last year. He hits one hard to the left side. That one gets through the infield. Good things happen when you hit the ball hard, and that one gets through. And it's a 2-0 lead here for Montreal. Top 2 now, Rafael Devers at the plate. He swings and misses, and that's Alexander Santiago's second K of the game. As it brings up Vaughn Grisham to the plate. Weak ground ball to third. Jeter Downs has that one, and it's corralled over to first. And Santiago, I don't need to see much of him here in the spring. I know what he brings to the table. I pitched with him when we called him up last year, and he was really good at AAA also. Here is Barger at the plate, who is competing for that starting shortstop job, and he gets a base hit right there, just getting good wood on it. Here is Terrell Tatum, the young center fielder who's developing in our organization behind Dairon Blanco, who is right now the starting center fielder. And a bad throw from Devers, and Terrell Tatum will reach first. That was just a sacrifice bunt, by the way. Bill Hedger up again, and he hits one well down the third baseline, and Devers makes up for that last blunder with a great diving play, getting Hedger at first. but it does score a run as the bases were loaded on that one, and it's 3-0. Augustus Macklin to the plate now. He gets one right over the middle of the plate. And the thing about being a great hitter is that if pitchers make mistakes, you got to take advantage. And I think Macklin will develop still more, but he's still a young hitter. He flies out to end that inning. Top 4 now, and this is Richard Takatsu, one of our few undrafted free agent players who make the spring training roster, but he is probably not right now vying for a MLB roster spot. I still want to see him in the minors before moving him up, but here are his ratings. He has very good hits per 9, but the control has to be better. So here is Devers now, who swings and misses at that outside pitch. He gets a strikeout right there. Tristan Case is at the plate. He's watching as well, and that is the second strikeout in a row. We'll see if he can get them down 3 in a row here as Emmanuel Valdez hits one up the middle, and that one will get through. As Takatsu tries to get out of this one, facing Vaughn Grisham again, 0 for 1 today, and flies out to short right field. And that is Cal Mitchell coming in for the final out of this 4th inning. And that will do it for that matchup. I want to quickly, not even quickly, I just want to go through highlights in the spring training. Like, the record doesn't really matter. I just want to see what certain players do, just getting the hang of certain players' swings as we get into the new season and seeing where everybody hits well in the lineup. Here is Jose Barrero, who was hurt for a lot of last year. Now, Barrero is a guy that I didn't talk about a lot last year, but he was a utility guy who can play all positions, but he doesn't do anything super, super great. But he is good defensively. As that brings up Christian Walker, who goes to opposite field. That pitch was way out of the zone, and Walker's such a great hitter. He's able to hit that one hard. Here is Riley Adams, who was signed in the offseason to bring some much-needed competition behind the plate. He hits one deep to left field. That one will score the runner from third, but Adams is vying for that backup catcher job, and who knows, if it's all when it's all said and done, he could be our starting catcher of the future. Here comes Cal Mitchell to the plate now. He's hitting the ball well in spring. That one gets through the infield, and it will score the runner from second despite a good throw home, and it is 2-0. And Cal Mitchell is a guy that is playing for a possible roster spot here for opening day. That brings up Milt Kaiser to the plate. Now, Milt Kaiser was another one of those undrafted free agents. He was out of UCLA for the Bruins, and as you can see, he has very, very good reaction. He's not great defensively, but his offensive ability is really, really good. He's going to be a really good hitter, in my opinion. Bill Hedger comes to the plate now here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. He hits one well to the right side, and that's going to be another base hit for Hedger. And Hedger looks good hitting the ball. He's just got to develop some consistency. Here is Walker back to the plate now. He hits one well, and he is in midseason form, coming off of a career year, off of the top of the wall. We will hold the runner up at third, but Christian Walker showing off that power. He's going to hit in that 3 spot more than likely as the season starts because he is our best hitter, and he's going to probably drive in the most RBIs. Here is Cal Mitchell, though, again. He hits one to the left side. That one gets through the infield, and Walker gets thrown out at the plate. But how about Mitchell? He has been impressive. He's hitting around 400 this spring. So he's a guy to look out for to possibly even get an opening day nod. Hedger back to the plate now. He hits one well up the middle, and he is 2 for 3 at the plate versus the Cardinals today. And Hedger looks like that offensive ability is going to be very, very special. I don't know if, like I said, he's going to be a day 1 starter, but I think he's going to be a guy that is going to develop into something really nice. Here he's hitting 206 in the spring as we move on a couple of more games and face the Marlins. And here he is once again showing off the power, hitting that one well to left center. But that average has to come up, and that is just the concern for me, just the consistency. But when we're controlling him, we're hitting the ball pretty square. Like, he is hitting the ball hard whenever he gets up, and I can't wait to see what he's going to turn into. The big downside with his draft pick at his slot was that he was 79 potential, but I think that will improve to a B at some point in this series. Here is Augustus Macklin, though, who comes up to the plate and smacks this one deep to right field. A no-doubt home run for the Offensive Player of the Year in the minor league system last year. And he is, I think, ready for the show. He had a great year in AAA. I eventually moved him up at September call-ups where he hit pretty well. So he is going to be a guy that is going to develop here in this series, and who knows where he will play. But right now, he is listed as a first baseman, and he has changed his secondary position to third base. That brings up Milt Kaiser to the plate now. He hits one well to left center field. That one will get to the gap. Milt Kaiser heads to second. Here is Augustus Macklin heading home. He's only got 28 speed. The throw will not be in time. And the undrafted rookie comes through, Milt Kaiser. And that is a great sign going forward for him. He's not going to make the opening day roster simply because of the optics. Like, he is just an undrafted guy. And even though he hit the ball well right there, I think he's still got some skills to develop, especially defensively. But we move on to the final highlights here in the spring. And there is Xavier Curry on the mound, but Riley Adams behind the plate. That is the difference between he and Higashioka. Higashioka is a pretty good bat, not a great bat, like he's just pretty good. But Riley Adams has potential. He's still 28 years old. He's 6 years younger than Higgy is, and I think he's got something. I really do think he's got something, and I think he's going to win this backup job. We'll see the stats in a little bit. But here's Xavier Curry, who's going to need a big spring to show what he can do, and he does get us out of the first inning right there as Hedger scoops that one up. And now we get Hedger one more at bat here to end the spring as he faces a lefty on the mound. And here is Hedger. He hits this one square again, but it's a fly out to Byron Buxton in center, but it's going to be a sacrifice fly, by the way. But you can see the potential with Hedger. He hits the ball hard and hits the ball square. On to extras here versus the Twins. Here's Macklin trying to walk it off, but this one will stay in the yard. And now we come down to the final at-bat here in these highlights. It's Sam Huff, who, like I said, was the backup catcher last year, but has not had a good spring at all. He grounds out to first, and with Riley Adams doing so well, it's likely that Huff will start this next season at the AAA level. So let's go over the final stats here. The record really doesn't matter. I care about more of the stats here. Now, starting pitching was interesting. How about Jamal Watson? Watson had a terrible spring, an absolutely terrible spring, which leaves us in a bind. I'm not sure what to do with Watson right now because I could move him up, but he actually struggled when we moved him up at the September call-ups last year. So my initial thoughts were to have him make the opening day roster, but leave him out of the starting rotation, have him come out of the bullpen and see how he does from there, and then make a decision on whether he should go to the starting rotation after that. But Santiago looks really good. He's ready for the show. Xavier Curry had a good spring. I really needed that from him. He looks ready here for the opening day roster. Richard Takatsu, not so much. He is a guy that still needs to develop, and he will get that chance as well. Our bullpen did decent, not great. Dwayne Underwood struggled. He was our Rule 5 draft pick. He did not do great. Charles Benson, who we picked up as an undrafted free agent as well, he did bad. But then I look at the position players. Kyle Higashioka hit 250. Sam Huff actually hit 333. He recovered, but it was only in limited at-bats, and really what I wanted to see from him is if he could slug well. But I look at Riley Adams, and 2 years ago, he hit 263. He had an on-base percentage of 323. But Riley Adams hit 3 home runs in the spring, and that really does make an impression because I need guys that can slug well, and I need to see that from our catcher position, to be honest with you. Looking at Bill Hedger, Hedger struggled, hit 197 in the spring. Augustus Macklin, though, did well. He hit 4 home runs, 12 RBIs, hit 253. I think he's the starter at DH for opening day. I'm pretty convinced of that. Zach McKinstry and Colton Wong had a little bit of a position battle, but I think Colton Wong gets the edge. He led our team in average last year. Tim Anderson had a really good spring. I didn't need to see much from him. By the way, he's taken a $2.5 million pay cut just about, down from $5 million down to $2.8. Shortstop was won by Barger, in my opinion. Looking at the numbers, it's pretty clear that Barger was the best option. And looking at Jeter Downs and Jose Barrero, both of those guys might not even make the opening day roster. And a big reason why they won't is because Cal Mitchell tore it up. And I think that Cal Mitchell is an MLB level talent. You look at these numbers, and these are great numbers. He had 12 RBIs in the spring, hit 362. I think he's going to be a valuable piece this year. Obviously, Dairon Blanco is going to make this roster as a starting center fielder. Terrell Tatum is going to have some time at AAA once again to develop. Milt Kaiser only hit 204. We did see some flashes from him, but he'll be down in AAA. And then Travis Jankowski hit the ball well. And it was a little bit of a competition for right field. Even though we brought in Connor Joe and Jankowski, I think I'm more convinced that Jankowski will probably play more than Connor Joe. At least the initial thought. That's what I'm thinking. So here's what the overall depth chart looks like, but this is just what the spring training roster looks like, but it looks a lot better than what we had last season. And I'm excited for a lot of these young guys to develop, especially seeing what Jamal Watson and Alexander Santiago do. That's going to be an interesting storyline. And then seeing if, a guy like Milt Kaiser or Bill Hedger can be moved up at some point. But I think they're going to start at AAA at least through, the first month or two and see where they are from there. So that's going to do it. Let me know what you guys think of this roster and what moves you think we should make here and who should be the starters for opening day. Hit subscribe, hit that like button. We're here for season 2 already. Stay tuned. Let's get it. Let's go.